Welcome to Video-Tutorial.Net's course on digital recording, mixing, and mastering. After we released our software-specific tutorials on Cubase and Pro Tools, we had many requests for information about the recording, mixing, and mastering processes generally, and that's why we've released this course. My name's Rosanna, and I'll be the voice in your ears during this course. I'm a professional musician working from a home studio. You can check out my work at www.rosannad.com. You don't need to have any specific software installed to view this course. We're going to be looking at some examples of mixing and mastering in different digital audio workstation softwares and with some third-party plugins. This course was filmed on a Windows platform, but the concepts are of course applicable to Mac users, and many of the controls in the software we use are identical for Mac users. We do recommend that you have the following minimum system requirements for best viewing: a screen resolution of 1280 by 800 pixels. The size of the video itself is 900 pixels wide by 700 high. A minimum of 128 megabytes of RAM, and most computers come with a heck of a lot more than that these days. A minimum of a G3 500 MHz processor for your Mac, or at least a Pentium 3 600 MHz processor on your PC. At least a 16-bit sound card, and the Adobe Flash Player, which is free. This tutorial is divided into 5 sections: Studio Setup, Audio Basics, Recording, Mixing, and Mastering. In the Studio Setup section, we'll be reviewing basic topics you should have under your belt when considering how to set up your studio. We're going to talk about acoustics, noise, cables, essential gear, computers, software, monitors, audio interfaces, microphones, grounding, and much more. In the Audio Basics section, we'll be reviewing the basics of sound and digital audio. This might seem a little technical, but I make it easier for you to understand, and a solid grasp of these concepts takes you a long way in your recording, mixing, and mastering. We'll go over some of the physics of audio, as well as MIDI and music notation. In the recording section, I'll talk about different types of recording, what's great about digital recording, signal flow, setting your levels, how to record drums with MIDI, and tips for recording different types of instruments, vocals, guitar, bass, and more. In the mixing section, we talk about the basic tools and techniques you'll be using while mixing: panning, EQ, compression, expansion, limiting, gates, and effects like reverb, chorus, delay, and exporting your final mixdown. And finally, in the mastering section, we talk about some of the tools and techniques used during the mastering process, like spectral analysis, reverb, exciters, and volume maximizers. Thanks for choosing Video-Tutorials.Net to help you learn about recording. This concludes our introduction. See you back in a minute.